Hello everyone, so we're at Mount Mike. Charles and I are gonna go hiking. Let's go.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I think that's Mount Sarati, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Mount Sarati.
Probably, I don't know mine. Hey everyone, welcome back to H Capital with me, Balqis. We are with our guest. This is Charles Liew. He is
Hello.
the founder for Shine Pharmacy. How are you today?
Good, thanks for having me.
No problem. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Oh, well, I'm a lawyer. I graduated in law and I worked as a lawyer for 4 years in Australia. Came back to Kuching, came back to Sarawak, home 9 years ago. And now I'm in the pharmacy business.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have been in a position of leadership for
Yes.
quite some time.
Yes.
I want to know, who is the leader that you admire the most?
Okay. I really admire a lot of leaders, but based on your question, the most, right? So I think some honorable mentions, I really love Nelson Mandela. I really love Martin Luther King. Because these are courageous leaders who actually know that certain things need to be corrected, certain things need to be made right. And so I love their courage to lead an entire nation towards a cause.
Yeah.
But the leader that I respect the most is Sir Alex Ferguson of Manchester United Football Club. I think he was the most remarkable leader I've ever seen, purely based on his no-nonsense approach, and his, he has a way to get the best out of his people, and that is a kind of leadership that I would like to think I'm aspiring to be.
Yeah. Are you a Manchester United fan?
No, I'm an Arsenal fan, so sorry guys.
That is quite surprising because usually if you don't belong to Manchester United, you would not acknowledge that publicly. So guys.
Sensible person.
Sensible person here.
As a lawyer.
Okay, what do you think makes a great leader? Fundamental characteristic of a leader?
I think I can list down like 100 characteristics, but I think if we need to point out like one key element of leadership that I think is super important is you will need to have a direction yourself. So it goes down to the cliche, which is the vision. I think you will need to be very sure as to that change you want to make in the world. And when I say the world, it's not about Earth, right?
Yeah.
When I say the world, it means the people around you. That's your world, right? So all of these people form part of our world, right? So you will need to be extremely strong as to your vision, because your vision is that North Star that you go towards. So whenever you go astray, you know where the North Star is, and you go back and not stray.
Direction,
So absolutely. So if you're able to, because if you have a team without direction, they have no idea where you're leading them.
They're
so
lost.
they won't follow you.
Yeah.
Right? So
That's
people
right.
are yearning for leaders. And so if you have a vision and a destination, people will follow you.
So like for HR, in HR standpoint, I think when we learn about leadership, there's a lot of types of leadership.
Yes.
So you have this autocratic leadership,
Yes.
laissez-faire leadership means somebody who's laid back.
Yes.
But I kind of am more interested with situational leadership. So it means that your leadership changes depending on the situation.
Yes.
I think a lot of people, but the thing is, there's no list, a standard list of leadership.
Absolutely.
You can't really say, but then it changes with the situation.
For
I believe.
sure,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So the main question, leadership born or nurtured? So is it genetic or is it environmentally influenced?
I think the answer that the only answer I can give you is that it is a mixture of both.
A mixture of
I mean, it has got to be. It has got to be, right? But the truth is that if you're a born leader, if you are born with that want within you to lead, it will be easier for you. Make no mistake about that. But you have to understand that leadership is a skill. And because it's a skill, it can be learned.
Yeah.
I always like to use an example, which is if you are a Malaysian, but you love the Spanish culture, you can fly to Spain and learn about the history and learn about the language or whatever. But the truth is that you are learning so hard out of interest.
Yeah.
But if you are born in Spain, you are natural, right? It doesn't matter if you're a Malaysian going to Spain and learning for 20 years, that born Spanish would be better versed with every little single detail of Spain better than you, right?
Yeah.
But so it's harder if you're not born a leader, but it's not impossible to learn.
It's achievable.
Absolutely, it's a
I
skill.
believe in Pareto principle.
Yes.
So 20-80. So 20%
Pareto,
is born, 80% you got to learn from experience, culture, everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like my daughter, like I would always tell the story, like my daughter, she would always fight with her cousins and they will be fighting with each other. They will say like, she's so bossy, she's so bossy. So I believe, I told her, you're not bossy, you are a leader. That's another way to look at it. So I think when children are born, sometimes it's genetically, probably she learned it from her very strong mother, strong aunties and strong grandmas. So I think it is probably the environment. But yes, genetic plays a part, but it is not the main characteristic of a leader. It doesn't come from genetic,
for sure.
Definitely.
For sure,
a mixture of both.
Yeah.
So within a group of peers who exhibits intelligence and who is an extrovert, usually we kind of recognize them as leaders, right? Do you feel that affects their result in work, like the performance in workplace? Do you feel that?
These two qualities are completely independent because we have leaders who are introverted and are amazing leaders. Yeah.
So I think when it comes to intelligence, when you are in a stressful situation, I don't think intelligence would be playing a part of how you react.
I think when we say intelligence, we have to distinguish between IQ and EQ.
Yeah.
And I think so when we say academic intelligence, then that has nothing to do with how you cope with stress.
Exactly.
But if you are very, very good with EQ, you see, being a leader is about the ability to process things in your head.
Yeah.
So say, for example, a situation, your team panics, but for you, you'll rock up and say, chill. This is easy, let's do that and this, and you do this or whatever. If you're able to process this and you know the energy here is one of panic and chaos, you come in to neutralize that, right? So that takes EQ to do that. So but that's intelligence.
I've always believed that EQ is much more easier for someone who is introverted because they have the ability to listen more rather than someone who is extroverted. I think I'm pretty extroverted.
Yeah.
So it is because I get excited and I just want to, I jumped into the conversation really quickly. So it's a bit harder for me to kind of listen. And I think for introverts, they are more emotionally intelligent. They are aware of
I don't think that would be backed up by statistics that extroverts and introverts, in terms of the EQ, extroverts are more, so like in my mind, EQ is again independent whether you're an extrovert or an introvert. Like for me, for example, you may think that I'm an extrovert just by the way that I present myself, like go like this. But based on the personality test and things like that, I'm an introvert. Like you will never, you can go on my social media. A lot of photos, you'll never find a photo with me at after parties or mixing with a large group of people. That's just not me. I will always turn down invitations for various things.
Yeah.
I can do this. I
Yeah.
can go on stage to give a speech,
Yeah.
but I can't mingle with people.
Yeah.
So
So basically, emotional intelligence is subjective.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I would love to continue more
Yeah.
on our discussion, but we will be right back after this. Hey everyone, welcome back to H Capital with me, Balqis. We are discussing whether leaders are born or nurtured. So with Charles here, I want to ask you, you have been in a position of leadership for quite some time, quite a long time. What are the challenges that you faced in order to create or nurture leadership skills within your team?
I think the challenges come from the fact that everyone is so different. And so you can't have the same benchmark for every single person. And also you have to appreciate the fact that some people in your team may not have the potential to be a leader more than the other person. You know what I mean? So say, for example, if you have got a team of 30 people, you have to understand the fact that not everyone can be a leader. You can't nurture everyone to be a leader. So you will need to pick out the people that you think are leaders and harness those potential. And I think like that is the main challenge that I personally have faced, is because sometimes you may see someone and you think, hey, this person may be a leader.
From the traits that they portray,
From the traits that they have exhibited. But once you put them in a position of leadership, and if you make a mistake in that call,
it's going to affect.
Then you would have something to deal with, because you know they have a team under them, and they are affecting those people. It may not from the perspective that you desire, and then you would have something to clean up, basically. So that is a challenge that I personally feel it's important for us to overcome, because so I think the hiring process is supremely important. I think from a human resource point of view, from the get-go, from the hiring process, from the interview bit, that's when you actually pick out.
You only see certain traits and you feel like, oh, okay, this might work. But for me, the challenges is if that person doesn't want to be a leader, if he portrays that leadership skill, but if he doesn't believe that he's a leader, he doesn't want to accept the responsibility of a leader, it's not going to go anywhere. Rather than someone who might be a bit timid, might be a bit shy, but if it's trust upon them, I feel that they might surprise you. So I think like sometimes when you look at traits itself, it might not be 100% right all the time.
So that's why I've always said people who are willing and able are the people you should go for. So you know they can be within your organization, but the truth is when you're hiring them, it's important to look at their history as well. You know, like where they've worked, what kind of positions, and ask them questions, just like now, to see whether they are critical thinkers, to see whether they have solved problems before and things like that. And I
so
think
experience would matter. How they respond to you would matter.
Absolutely.
Because the past would kind of project what you kind of expect in the future.
You see, here's the thing. I'll give you one example that's really, really cute. You know, this lady here in front of us, right?
Hello.
She's about to be appointed the Chief Operations Officer for Shine Pharmacy.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
In October. And you know, and she'll be the highest paid in the entire organization. Now, you see, here's the thing. Like, it is not so much about the answer that a person would give, because at interview, I asked her, "What is your weakness?" And she said, very excitedly, she said, "I can't sing." And I was like, and you know, that shocked me so much that I hired her right away.
Really?
And that was 6 years ago. That was 6 years ago, you know. So it's about that gut feeling that you have as a leader, that when someone could do that in that environment, I think that's it's about spotting talents as well.
I think that's a responsibility that is a bit hard. Not hard, it's a burden because you have to choose right for your companies.
Absolutely.
Your leadership would affect how the company, how successful or how it fails in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely.
My next question, how do you maximize leadership skills for your employees? How can an employee maximize their leadership skills?
I think if it's from an employee point of view, put your hand up and say, I want to do that. I want to do this.
Just try.
Yeah, because I can only use my own example because
Yeah.
when I was working in Australia, being black-haired and everything, and so it's harder, right?
Yeah.
It's harder. But what I used to do as I was climbing the ladder was I would always put my hand up. There's a big case, no one wants to take it up because too much work, but very little in terms of settlement money. So no one wants to do it because it doesn't go on the resume or whatever. I said, I want to do it, right? So
Wow.
I go and do it. Then I will do all the research, hire all the experts and everything. And so,
Does that feel natural to you? Because you did
Super
mention that
natural.
you are
Super
introvert. So does that feel natural to
yeah,
you?
that actually feels natural to me.
Wow.
Because putting my hand up, getting that thing, I also I think being introvert, people think being an introvert means you are timid. I think timidity has a negative connotation to it.
True. Yes.
But if we go look at some holy books, right? So Quran or Bible or whatever, they use a word called meek. I think meekness, it is gentle, but it has a confidence to it that.
That's true.
So if you look at spiritual leaders, they are gentle, but they are firm on a lot of grounds, right?
Yeah.
So
even like for us, like Prophet Muhammad, he's very gentle.
Absolutely.
But he can still lead
absolutely,
with grace.
that is the meekness we're talking
So
about.
I think we shouldn't underestimate people who are introvert.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean they cannot be leaders. You just have
Absolutely.
to nurture it. Leaders are supposed to identify and nurture that.
Correct.
I think.
So, I mean, as a leader, it's important for us to actually see who is an introvert, who is an extrovert, because that will change the way you deal with them,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
Because if someone is an introvert and you just blah, blah, blah to them,
Yeah.
I mean, they will take it, but you don't know how they feel, and
That's
that can be
true.
scary,
Yeah.
right? So it's pushing and pulling.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so success of leader. So they say that success of leader is based on two behaviors. One, if you focus on the people, and one, if you focus on the result.
What do you think?
Me, I think they're both independent. You can't be choosing the people too much,
Sure.
but you can't be result oriented a bit too much. So
Sure.
you have to be. It's a balance. It's a constant practice.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think we all have met leaders who are too jovial, too jaunty, a lot of energy, but no results.
That's
right?
true,
I mean,
yeah.
they miss deadlines, and when they meet deadlines and they are leaders, their team meets deadlines as well. And that is important because it creates a culture, right? So as leaders, our number one role is to create the kind of culture that yields results, right? So it's important to have social skills, like focus on people, but we also need to focus on results. I mean, I love this line from Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is, if you've heard of this guy, I mean, he passed away now, but he said, results is the name of the game. What other game is there? We are in a results-based world.
Yes,
You
we
are
are.
measured by your results,
That's true.
right? So, of course, results will be important, but if you don't have people skills, you can't get anyone to get to your results.
That's true.
So it's important to have both.
But which one would you gravitate more?
To be fair,
Yeah.
I think I'm 51% results and 49% people skills.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. Okay. What would you like to emphasize to our viewers on leadership skills? What is the takeaway message?
Sure. I think you can be a leader. It's a matter of decision because it doesn't matter all your life. People say, you are a follower, you're not a leader. At some point, here's the thing. If you have a little sister, you're a leader, basically.
Yeah.
We are a leader in different aspects. Here's the thing. It's about effective leadership and less effective leadership. So you can be a leader. Anyone can be a leader.
Yeah.
It's a matter of you deciding and then learning those skills.
So the choice is yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with me
Thank
today.
you for
I
having me.
enjoy having this discussion with you.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for joining. We hope to see you again soon. Thanks. From our discussion with Charles, we can conclude that at the end of the day, everyone is a leader, but not everyone is going to be effective. You can be born with strong leadership traits. However, if you cannot progress along with the subject knowledge and develop leadership skills that are conducive to success, you will not be able to sustain leadership just by the force of your personality. It should not matter if your leadership is natural or nurtured, whether you are an introvert or an extrovert. Your will and determination to strive for success will shape your future. Thanks for joining me this week, and I hope to see you in the next.